Capitalism is a significant economic system. Capitalism is the economic system that dominates the world. The defining characteristics of capitalism include private ownership of the means of production, free markets, private property, and the profit motive. Capitalism has produced many good things. Capitalism has enriched our society. Capitalism is in many regards an improvement on the feudal order that preceded it. However, capitalism has some significant flaws. Capitalism propagates a sense of powerlessness and helplessness in the lives of the masses. Most of the population is forced to toil at the command of another. They spend their lives working jobs they despise to enrich others. They lack freedom or self-control. They are reduced to the role of cogs in the machine. They are powerless, and they know it. This is a degrading and dehumanizing state of existence. One spends their entire life toiling to increase the wealth of another. One spends one's life as the unappreciated and often despised servant of the wealthy. They call them free markets. The only freedoms that capitalism respects is the freedom to oppress and the freedom to exploit. You are free to toil to enrich another, or you are free to refuse and live a life of poverty and destitution. Capitalism tells people that they can escape miserable low-level work by rising to the top and becoming wealthy. Not everyone can succeed. By definition, not everyone can rise to the top. In theory, anyone can succeed, but in practice, most people have to fail. You cannot have a society composed of wealthy entrepreneurs. Someone has to stock shelves and clean toilets. Someone has to be lower class. Capitalism tells people that they can escape the misery of a life at the bottom by rising to the top. But most people are condemned to exist at the bottom. By definition, not everyone can get ahead. By definition, not everyone can be at the top. Someone has to lay bricks and pave roads. Society is founded on low-level work. Low-level work is absolutely essential to both society and the economy. Capitalism is built on disrespect and disdain for the low-level work that is essential to the maintenance of society. In theory, anyone can succeed, but in practice, most people have to fail. Yet the mere possibility of riches is enough to keep most workers loyal to the system. Hope is a dangerous thing. When one has a shred of hope in a system, one will endure it. Like a lottery, capitalism is preserved by the slim hope of eventual success. The loyal working-class defender of capitalism is often driven by the psychology of the gambler. They defend the system because one day it may be nice to them. In reality, the system despises them. The profit motive is the beating heart of capitalism. The profit motive can lead to innovation and efficiency. That is true. But the profit motive also encourages people to cut corners, mistreat their workers, and mislead consumers. The profit motive encourages good behavior, but it also encourages bad behavior. The profit motive has encouraged the exploitation of workers, the destruction of the environment, dangerous products, and hazardous workplaces. The profit motive encourages the worst elements of human nature. The profit motive rewards greed and selfishness. The profit motive incentivizes greed and selfishness. The profit motive encourages us to be our worst selves. The worst elements of human nature are rewarded and incentivized by the profit motive. The profit motive has serious flaws. Capitalism is also an autocratic system. Every workplace is a miniature dictatorship. Workers have no control over the decisions that impact them. Employers rule with an iron fist. You can either obey us without question, or you can starve. Capitalism is built on autocratic working environments. Such conditions are dehumanizing and degrading. They leave workers feeling powerless. Such conditions discourage the questioning of power. Such conditions encourage people to mindlessly obey authority. This is a very dangerous thing. People should be able to hold the powerful to account. People should have a say in the decisions that impact them. Capitalism rejects democracy with its dictatorial workplace model. The workplace should be a democracy, not an autocracy. Capitalism also produces enormous economic inequality. Some starve while others bathe in riches. Enormous wealth inequality is socially destabilizing. Enormous wealth inequality undermines democracy by giving some individuals enormously disproportionate power. Wealth is power. When some individuals are extremely wealthy, democracy will be undermined, as these people wield enormously disproportionate influence. Wealth can easily be translated into political influence, should the wealthy choose for it to be. Capitalism creates massive power imbalances. Some people have nothing to sell but their labour, while others own more property than most people could even imagine. One man struggles to pay his rent, while another owns 300 houses. One man starves to death, while another enjoys his super yacht. One man is forced to beg for work, while another gets to select the employees who will enrich him. An enormous power imbalance between employers and employees is a defining feature of capitalism. Capitalism has enriched our society, but much of this wealth is not distributed evenly or spent on the public good. Much of this wealth is controlled by a very small group of people. A small group accumulates an increasingly large amount of wealth. They often use some of this wealth to fund politicians who go on to do their bidding. These politicians cut taxes, deregulate the economy, destroy trade unions, and freeze minimum wages. This serves to further enrich their wealthy donors. The mindless profit motive facilitates and encourages a massive degree of corruption. Mentioned here are just a few of the problems with capitalism. There are many more. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Capitalism is a deeply flawed system. Pointing out flaws is easy. The hard part is finding a solution. Socialism, communism, and anarchism provide various solutions of various different levels of quality. Some solutions are good, others are worse than the problem itself. The solution that I am most confident in is market socialism. Market socialism is a solution to some of the problems outlined here. Market socialism describes an economic system that maintains free markets, but with socialist features. Workplaces are owned and controlled by their workers. Profits are shared and workplaces are governed democratically. Businesses are controlled democratically, either through direct or representative democracy. This addresses the degrading and dehumanizing sense of powerlessness that permeates capitalist businesses. It also addresses the autocratic nature of capitalism. The system puts workers in a position to make the decisions that impact them and hold their leaders accountable. Market socialism encourages the questioning of power. Democratic elections give workers an opportunity to hold authority accountable and have a say in the decisions that impact them. The power imbalances of capitalism are reduced. Those who own and control the means of production and those who work the means of production become the same group of people. This significantly reduces power imbalances. The sharing of profits among the workers decreases wealth inequalities. Market socialism does not solve all of the problems of capitalism, but it does solve some of them. Market socialism can be implemented through government-introduced incentives, tax cuts, interest-free loans, subsidies, preferential contracts. These are a few incentives that a government can implement to encourage democratic, worker-controlled business practices. More drastic measures can be considered down the line. Market socialism is not an absolute solution to the many flaws of capitalism, but it does address some of them. Capitalism has its strengths, but we should not let those strengths drive us to mindlessly accept imperfection. Capitalism has many flaws. We should not let our desire for a better world fade. Capitalism is flawed, and we can and should seek something better. We should not let our idealist spirit wither. We should seek out and implement a superior economic system. We should seek a better world. We should not accept capitalism as the best economic system we will ever have. There is no reason to believe that this is the case. Some people promote this idea because they stand to financially benefit from the preservation of the current economic order. Capitalism is not the best system we will ever have. We can do better. We should do better. We will do better. We will identify and implement an economic system that is better than this. Capitalism is deeply flawed. I refuse to believe that capitalism is the best system we will ever have. We can and should seek out something better. We can and should rekindle an idealist spirit. Mindless acceptance of imperfection out of fear of the alternative is the enemy. It condemns us to exist beneath highly flawed political and economic systems. We must reject this mindless acceptance of imperfection. We must all become radical idealists. We must pursue a better world. It is this idealist spirit that the founders of capitalism were themselves servants of. Once capitalism was unthinkable, and now so too is the next evolution to the economic order. We will not be the slaves of our lack of imagination. We will push forwards into a better world. We can and should find a superior economic system. We will find a superior economic system.